Yes. And with words, press those buttons, we are rock and roll. And I know I'm joking all the time. My beautiful audience, I know you can hear me. Even now when we are waving with this snow hand from Norway. Yes, it's kind of a joke, Tatyana, already. I'm always joking that I should actually change the color of this really, really frozen hand, like, or spray or something. But the awards of my guests and the heart vibrations to the show actually cover all the time. And I said, okay, we can still start from joking and set the vibe and tone for the studio. So welcome to Diversity is the Game Changer. Welcome to the show. Genuinely thankful and grateful for your most precious commodity. It's your time, full focus presence. Look at you, your beautiful smile. Uh, even more, what can be more actually really helpful in this today's Monday, right Monday.
Monday,
Yes,
Monday, yes.
Monday. What can be even more wishful for me to start my show and see so beautiful lady. And I know she's not just blonde, she's beauty brain, and believe me, both. I know that in a very good sense of this word. So Tatyana, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, Valeria.
Thank you so much. And actually, you know what? Because we've been friends for so long, so now it came to me. Actually, I forgot to double check your second name, but Gao, this is your real second name.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So beautiful. Wow. Also, and it's very easy actually to remember. Ah, it's a life hack. Very nice. An episode title for today: From Childhood Patterns to Conscious Leadership. Rewiring culture to diversity of thoughts and neuroinclusion. We can, the second part is just the topic, but the title will be From Childhood Patterns to Conscious Leadership with Tatyana Gao. Or nomadic coaching. It will be up to you when we actually make in the post. So, in this powerful episode of Diversity is the Game Changer, we explore what truly shapes leadership, not just as strategy, but identity. Not just performance, but perception. Not just structure, but nervous system awareness. Today, I'm honored to welcome a transformational force. It's you, my beautiful. In strategic leadership, in organizational development, a consultant, executive coach, a culture architect with over a decade of experience elevating leaders, teams, organization into aligned, high-performing ecosystem. I mean, like over decades. You look so beautiful and radiant. Have you started in your kindergarten, probably? Already there, like with conscious leadership. As a certified Maxwell consultant, she brings behavioral intelligence, communication strategy, and evidence-based leadership growth into the real world of executive transition, team conflict, and culture transformation. Her work bridges performance and humanity, combining experiential learning, personality insight, and strategic clarity to design environments where people don't just function, they flourish and thrive. She believes leadership is not about authority, it's about awareness, not about titles, but about transformation. And today we go deep in this subject. So, welcome, my dear. Did you like your bio?
I love it. Thank you so much. What an amazing introduction.
I try. You have accomplished so much. When I just was even today in the morning, did my last part of homework and tried to concentrate and to pack. I was like, oh my God, this lady, she's really. And I met you in the real life. You are one of those few guests that actually I met. I spent time. I hugged. I'm a big hugger. You are as well. So I know that's why we aligned immediately, right?
Yes.
And before all this, actually titles, accolades, accomplishment. It was a little girl one day. I know that it was very special story which impacted your grown-up life and mindset, and actually impacted your transformed so many lives for the better around you. So could you please take us a little bit backwards first to this usually I say kingdom of princes, but I know that story. It's still princess, of course it is. Look at you. But I would like you to share this story and how much actually of this childhood DNA has impacted uh, your path, both private and professional. We know they are interconnected as usually. So thank you so much. Mike is yours, and please, yes, station Mike. And this is the one way to shut me down because I have sometimes spoken like too much. Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me, Valeria. You are incredible. And when we met in Miami, I, something changed in me because of the way you held yourself in the room, the way you held other people and the space for other people. I haven't seen anyone do that the same way you do it. And you are really incredible. And I'm honored to know you and honored to contribute to your podcast. And it's funny how when you started saying like, oh, I wonder how you were in the childhood. Funny enough, I actually remember when I was a kid, I would line up all my toys, like all the stuffed animals. And I had this kind of like pointer and the blackboard, and I would actually point at them. So I was pretending to be a teacher early on when I was a little kid. So, but to answer your question, I had an amazing childhood. It was really beautiful. I grew up in love, meaning that I had a wholesome family. We spent summers in our dacha that my father built, and my mom created a beautiful garden, and we had a lake, and we spent like every summer there. It was amazing. But then comes the 90s in USSR. Like, if some people don't know what it was like, I'm going to describe, and a lot of people from the post-Soviet space will probably relate to a lot of experiences I'm going to share. And so at some point, my life as a teenager sort of like corrected the seam, completely open on all levels. So I was born and grew up in Russia. And basically, my country fell apart, 91, right? I remember seeing tanks in Red Square on TV, and I was terrified of that happening. The economy fell apart completely because of the restructuring and lack of international funding. So basically, that resulted in 100% unemployment. So my parents lost their income. So my mom got laid off. My dad lost his business. We had no money, and there was no food in the store. And I remember as a kid walking into boulangerie, right, um, uh, where they sell bread, and they were completely empty shelves. So there were no food, nothing. And the food was rationed. So we would get the coupons and stand in line with my mom and my aunt. And funny enough, my aunt was joking about this, like, well, I'm going to save this as a history. Like, what do you mean we need to eat? Like, no, I'm saving this. I should actually contact her and ask her if she still has them, because I would love to see that, what they look like. And it was a really difficult time, and a lot of families would fall apart because of the pressure the pressure of survival that was put upon them. And now I used to view, the breakup of my family that sort of like followed all of this as something separate. But lately I realized, like, well, we have to go through certain experiences on the soul level, but also the circumstances guide us through that as well.
Mhm.
And so, given all the pressure that, our family was experiencing, my family started to have a very difficult time. And unfortunately, domestic abuse was actually normalized in the post Soviet space. And even phrases like, if he beats you, he loves you, was actually the totally normal. And another saying that was common, like, don't bring your trash out, meaning a woman wasn't allowed to share if her husband actually, mistreated her in any way, to share with the neighbors or friends, because it was not culturally accepted, which was really sad. And so something like that happened in my family when I was a teenager, about 12 or 13. And instead of leaving the room to go to my room when I was told, I actually hid behind the armoire and pretended that I closed the doors. And I felt that there was something heavy in the room, like the air was thick, but no one was saying anything. And so I was curious. So I actually ended up protecting my mom from my dad at the age of 13. And funny enough, I still look at this and wonder how on earth did I have the guts as a young girl to stand up to my dad and stand between them and say, like, this is not who you are, move away. But the next thing you know, we were the ones who got traumatized and sitting in the small armchair and shaking from all the fear. And my dad is like a bear yelling at us. But there is a lot that happens there and a lot to unpack. I haven't spoken to my dad in 16 years after what happened when he moved out because I told him I wanted to heal. And then when I immigrated to the United States and during the COVID, he discovered me online and sent me a message. And it took me 2 weeks to respond to him because I then already as a coach had to coach myself through the process of like, well, who am I right now? Can I have a new relationship with my dad after what happened? Have I forgiven him? Have I forgiven myself? Right. Um, and I responded back to him saying that yes, I would love to have a new relationship with you, but with one condition. If you're able to switch, turn the page over as if there was nothing that happened and we start anew. But I also realized that that's not possible. Not that easy because when you pause a relationship at some point, it's stuck in that part of the past in the mind of both of people in that relationship. And in order to move forward, you still need to go back into that point to release that knot. So what ended up happening is that me walking my dad through in the coaching process, through what he felt like he wanted to share, what he was really regretting of what happened. Um, and then we were able to move past that. And now we have a really, really good relationship. I mean, it's not as close as probably would have been if things didn't happen, but it's certainly better than nothing, right? Um, but to continue my story, between the ages of 13 and 17, I ended up developing a depression, like a teenager depression, to the point when in the ninth grade, when I would go take a tramway to school, I was so overwhelmed. We also lived in a family hostel, which was really tough to live in. If you've never seen what it looks like, you probably don't want to see that. And I would actually not make it to the building, but I would sit outside among like the living buildings, and they would have benches there. So I would sit on the bench for hours and stare into nothingness. And now thinking back, I realized that, well, I was completely numb. And at the same time, that was my space to come back to myself, rest, relax, have some space, which was never the case back at home. Then fast forward to 17, the graduation, then the entrance exams. I got the full scholarship to Kuban State University, which was really hard to do. I had to retake one of the exams, and 2 exams were oral exams. So for our younger listeners who don't know what an oral exam is, basically you draw a ticket, you have half an hour to prepare, and then you stand or sit in front of a committee of 3 to 4 committee members, and you answer these questions to the committee. Now let me tell you, when I walked down to the bottom of the stairs, somebody would actually stand there and ask, like, well, what grade did you get? And I could not remember what grade I got because I was so stressed. And apparently I wasn't the only one because students were so stressed. It was a very stressful experience. Anyway, so the preparation, all these changes, and then puberty, of course. Like that alone is just such a huge change for any young girl. Have you ever felt this way, as if you are sitting on a box of powder just waiting to explode? Well, that was me for like several years in a row. And luckily, right before the incident, I met my sensei, Pavel Larionov. Him and his wife founded the school that's called the Hedman School of Psychology, Martial Arts, and Meditation in Krasnodar, Russia. And, like when you're given a hardship, you're always given all the support to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so one of the frameworks came out from that as well, and I'll share that. So I was actually training with him 3 times a week in Wing Chun, which is Bruce Lee Kung Fu style. And then on Sundays, he invited students, selected students, to actually train on the consciousness expansion, right? The focus exercises, practical psychology tools, how to pull yourself out of depressive states, how to not ever get into those, and how to actually be the, coach yourself, walk as a warrior of your life, right? And it was really helpful to have that, but at the same time it was still very hard for me to control my internal state already. And so we made it at, freshman, yay, first year, awesome. And my and my girlfriends and I were celebrating, and I got a bad drink, and by that I feel like I got drugged, because I've never felt this way before. I couldn't remember how I walked from, the trolley bus to my house, and it was during the day. It wasn't even at night. Um, and then, when I got home, my mom and my aunt are cooking dinner, and here during this evening happened a conflict that sort of like dropped the match between, the old reality and the new reality. My boyfriend came to pick me up, and my mom, knowing that I was, a rebel teenager,
Mm-hmm.
basically said, okay, well, don't worry, maybe you come back later. And for some reason we got into fight with my aunt, and that match for me, that was the last drop.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing was really done wrong in any way, but that was just for me internally. That was the match that I was waiting for, like the permission to fire up, I guess. I don't even know how to call this. And so, my aunt was saying like, well, you're not feeling well, like, don't go, stay and rest. And I felt like, okay, guys, if you're not letting me go through the door, I'm gonna go through the window. I stepped on the windowsill and I jumped off the second floor window. Luckily, I only broke my back.
Oh, I'm still like, it's not the first time I just hear this story, but I still have this tremendous amount of goosebumps. Yeah. So I don't want to interrupt. Yeah.
So I spent a month in the hospital, and one of the vertebrae cracked. It was a compression fracture, and basically they had to put into metal rods, the screws, the whole 9 yards. I wasn't allowed to sit for half a year, and here I am, freshman. I was supposed to wear this heavy corset that prevented me from bending forward. And just imagine, you just get back from a hospital, and you're not allowed to sit. You have to rethink everything that we're used to in terms of walking, bathing, toileting, functioning like a normal person, right? So a lot of these things were put into a new perspective for me, and I had to regain my strength, my physical strength, and then my mental strength, and then my psychological inner power, and all of that took a lot of healing. And imagine you're lying on this makeshift bed out of an extended leg of a couch, a wooden door, and a thin mattress on top, so that your back heals in the
Mhm.
correct way. And so it's your head, a bowl of soup, and your dog's head on the other side, giving you the puppy dog's eyes as you're trying to eat. So basically, that's how I ate. And for the first time in my life, I had to make an executive decision
Mm-hmm.
to take an academic year off or not to take it. Now, what would you do? Right? And after listening to myself, I realized that no one can make that decision for me. No one can force me. Um, and I decided not to take an academic year off and to go to lectures and to stand at lectures because I wasn't allowed to sit. Because I realized that I needed to keep my mind busy. I wanted it to improve. And if I had the entire year of doing nothing, that would not be good. And then my teacher called me back into the training, and he created a special program for me where it was just like a very slow Shisao gymnastics, where I was building my strength, working with the energy to heal my back, heal my psyche, heal my nervous system, my mental state, which was really helping. And there was this prominent phrase that he told me during one of the Sunday classes. He looked at me and he paused and then he said, Tatyana, you need to become the leader of your life. And I looked at him with my big eyes, wondering, like, yes, yes. How would I do this? What does it mean? And so my entire lifetime has been the testimony of what it means to become the conscious leader of your life and to learn to pull yourself out of the most difficult situations, of the hardships, and then view the hardship as your greatest opportunity to rise. Now, it may be hard for for some people to look at it this way, but having gone through the fall of my country, the Great Depression, the broken back, two broken marriages, the immigration, which on its own is a really big stress. Just trying to assimilate in the new country, it's a big deal. And then make it your own and be a proud citizen and contribute to the society and all of that. You really have to find yourself in you really need to build a new identity. That means that you really need to get to the next level of who you are. And I like to think of this as the framework that I created and share during my keynotes and presentations. Basically, think of yourself as a raw diamond.
Mm-hmm.
When they're found in nature, they're not sparkly. They don't sparkle. They are usually embedded with, in dirt or
Yeah.
in the coal. And once they start being cut, that's when the light gets in, and we start seeing the different rainbow colors coming through when the light is breaking through it, right? But here's the thing, every time it's being cut, imagine like if a raw diamond was alive. Ow. Now, if you actually think of your hardships, shaping you is that diamond so you can shine brighter. And every single hardship is an opportunity for you to get to that next level and own your mastery, own your ability to really lead yourself and then show up as your best and then lead your communities, lead your organizations, because leadership always starts within.
Oh my God. Yes, it is. First of all, I am profoundly thankful again for you sharing your really deep, special, inspirational story, the all truth from your childhood. And I can just tell that I can relate in so many ways because I made in Soviet as well, like you said. And I remember all these thousands of questions they came and jumped out when really all the circumstances were so shaken. Every single day you didn't know what country you are awakened to now, what kind of decision. And also my childhood also was impacted by a father who was addicted to alcohol, and it was also domestic violence. It was a lot of depression, of course, but maybe we didn't know the word depression itself. And we try to do and to find our ways to deal with. And I can completely understand that at one point it was really like the last drop for you, that you really understood that, okay, I have to do something, I have to express all these feelings which really was so much pressed into you, that you actually really expressed by physical movement. But we know, and you know yourself, how many intelligences and bodies we have. It's not just physical, right? And conscious and emotional and intuitional, and a lot of and when all of them, they are not in a synergy, not in harmonical way to collaborate, then one of them actually really can collapse, and it can be this result. But like you said, exactly, hardships and our ups and downs and the roller coaster, there is always two choices. Or you can really self-pity yourself so much and put your energy and focus on being a victim, or you can take and turn creative fuel and actually, first of all, to heal yourself. Because like you said, the most important to understand, the biggest startup and project and company or corporation of our life, it's of our life, it is our life. And we are CEOs every single day, and we make this executive decision, right? Really, like today I've been to my therapist, OCD therapist, and I had no idea she's teaching me how to deal with intrusive thoughts. And it's exactly again about to make the right choice, to pick up different thoughts, and how much energy you actually give to different thoughts. And I didn't know that we have from 40,000 until 50,000 different thoughts per day, and it's just up to us exactly to make this executive decision, where which actually we have to fish and give them really, like, nurtured stuff, because it's up to us anyway. And we have to understand that every type of relationship and impact starts with self-empowering, self-management, self-discipline, self-motivation, inspiration. It's everything about self. And like you said, this I love so much actually that you already brought this metaphorically about diamond. Yes, I'm so inspired by this comparison, because it's about cut, and it's also about how much pressure, right? It's how much pressure. And I have also one of my courses, when I'm teaching, I'm joking, like, okay, we know that diamonds and gems are best friends for girls. And actually, if we would like to joke sometimes, and we don't want to dive really in this academic or very, like, corporate stuff, so I'm teaching like gems management. And then everybody, oh, gems is actually based or rooted in gratitude. It's GE, it's empathy. M, it's mindfulness. And then an S, it can be sustainable, it can be self. But then it's gems, it's like, oh, gems, everybody can remember. Yes, so it's exactly about the gems you are presenting. You see, we are so much aligned about this. Thank you so much for sharing this. And first of all, thank you for giving me such nice words when we opened our show. It really means a lot to me what you have underlined about how you felt when we met each other. Because you may know that at the end of the day, the most important actually may be not names, not conference, not titles, not even cities where we met, but the most important we are going to remember always is MMFI, make me feel important. It's how this person can actually, how this person made you feel, right? Most important, we are carrying in our thoughts and on us and on our energy level as well. Immediately we can understand. Tell us further about your transformational path, and how actually you really been through so much, and how you could reframe all your adversities into this creative fuel. And you have made this beautiful program, and now you've became a coach, and now you make so much really important impact on so many people, and this is your mission, this is your vision. And of course we know that, I'm sure, and I know that your motto that leadership, it's not ownership, it's stewardship, and with visibility we have responsibility how we impact people. So tell us about your program, about conscious leadership concept. Thank you.
Of course, absolutely. So, my business started during the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't intentional. Funny enough, for the longest time, I felt like I was kind of, I mean, I was really happy working at the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. I come from the Rockefeller Center for Public Policy and Social Sciences at Dartmouth, where I taught students leadership development, and I ran leadership development programs. And then Harvard Kennedy School of Government in the leadership development space and negotiation, conflict resolution. And I coached mid-career leaders on negotiation. That was really incredible. And there was always this something like a feeling inside me that I'm meant for more, that there is more for me. And I was waiting to find out what it is. And I was looking at it, looking for some hints, but it wasn't until the shutdown that it sort of like surfaced, if that makes sense. Um, I was a part of a really large West Coast swing dance community for a number of years. I made it to the all-star level, and then the shutdown happened, and I stopped dancing. But what I realized is in my community, there were a lot of people who were really struggling psychologically. They were lonely, they were by themselves, or they were just not able to connect with others or missing others. And I actually really missed my people too. So, what I decided to do is I started inviting people on Zoom on Sundays to get together very selfishly for myself. Like, hey guys, I miss you. Let's get together. Let's talk about a topic everyone is interested in, and we'll meditate because I know how. Now, the funny thing, this is the shift that happened for the entire humanity, not only for me. Um, just how many years ago, if you hear somebody say like, "Oh, I'm a yoga teacher," people would look at them and say like, "Well, no, you're crazy."
Mm-hmm.
That was the perception in the US, and that was like, I would say, like more than 6 years ago, like 7 years ago, before the pandemic. And then the pandemic has shifted the whole mindfulness understanding of how important it is. Now, I never shared about my experience at the Headman School of Psychology, Martial Arts, and Meditation, and my experience working with energy, working with Kundalini, with energetic systems, understanding how to learn to train your focus, to manifest things, to manipulate energy. A lot of things that I never really shared with anyone simply because, well, I'm not sure if, people are going to look funny at me or something. But that was the time. And so I started running these, get together meetings on Sundays. I was doing it for free for myself, just to see the people. And I would start putting more and more effort into it and creating like presentations, PowerPoint presentations, and, kind of really putting a lot of creativity because I liked it a lot. And by the end of the year, people started sending me donations.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of stopped. It's like, wait a minute, what are you telling me? It's like, I actually do I can do what I love and actually get paid for it and make a sustainable living on it. And so that's when it sparked my curiosity and creativity, and the process started. Now, this is when I actually had to look at my life in hindsight and understand, like, okay, what are this is actually the process I walk my clients through, especially those who like shift from the corporate world and they want to open a business. They have all these amazing skills, but they have no idea how to package them, how to present themselves, where do they stand in
Mm-hmm.
this world. So basically, I started developing my conscious leadership method that is based on the trifecta of leadership, consciousness, and energetics or spirituality, depending on who you talk to, because
Yeah.
it's different things are called differently, but they're literally the same thing. So, and this is where it's super important because if you look at the corporate world, at least in the US, I would be curious to hear your experience living in Europe. But usually people are not inclined to talk about energetics or, spirituality or anything like that when it comes to working within a corporation. It almost feels like, no, we don't talk about this. This does not exist. We just focus on the work. And a lot of people actually operate this way. But to me, it almost feels like a person saying, like, well, they don't have a left arm, right? It's almost like cutting yourself, like shooting yourself in the foot a little bit, because we are depriving ourselves of the most important connection with the source.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is where it goes. There is this idea of leading, and now this is the concept that was created by Jim Dathmer and his colleagues. Funny enough, when I finished writing my book, my colleague actually says, like, hey, by the way, did you know there is a book that's 15 commitments of conscious leadership? I'm like, wait a minute, how did I miss this? It's fine. And they really they have a great concept where they talk about leading below the line and above the line, and it really aligns with my idea, as well, of my conscious leadership method. But my method takes it further because I talk about energy in addition to just the body and the mind, right? It's the alignment of your body, mind, and soul here now, the embodiment in the present moment, right? And so most people, and the majority of people tend to live their lives below the line. And below the line really means that it's kind of like the survival mode, like chasing after things, hustling, like without any specific purpose. And, running late, always chasing after things, and blaming all, like, weather, the circumstances, themselves. And what seems like they have smaller impact on the personal level is just their family, maybe their community. And their life may look a bit messy, right? Because they're not understanding who they are. They're not really leading themselves. They're allowing other things to lead them, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. Because they're giving the power away to their boss, their family member, their circumstances and stuff. And so when we take this person from the personal level and put them into a leadership role, what ends up happening is that because we project only what we have inside, and if there is insecurity inside, the lack of clarity of who we are, lack of self awareness, it's really hard to create an authentic leadership following, right? Why? Because the energy is not there. Have you ever experienced this when, say, you are in a boardroom meeting or in a meeting, and someone walks through the door, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, Bill is here. Hi, Bill. How's it going? The room lights up. Everyone is happy. Nothing happened. He hasn't spoken a word. He hasn't had a chance to project his body language yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this situation has a little history there, and we understand. Maybe he was really kind to everyone. But how many times in the store would it be that maybe you're standing behind a person in the grocery store and there's something about them, they're just like so lit up, and you just want to talk to them, and they're like, man, your energy is delicious. What are you doing? Right? And then on the other side, you're sitting in a boardroom, a person walks through the door, and the energy shrinks. It's like, oh my God, not you. Can I just hide? Obviously, yes, there is a history there of how the person maybe was behaving with everyone. But then again, have you ever experienced this, that you're looking at the person and then something is telling, like, oh, you need to stay away from them. They're not safe to be around. What is it really telling you that? Like, it could be like seconds before you made that reading in your energetic field. That's the energy that speaks for us. And the energy speaks louder than our body language before we have a chance to say anything or do anything. And now going back to the below the line, above the line. See, when it's hard to create that and delicious energy for people to be attracted to it and genuinely follow you, then people usually don't like a leader like that, and they don't listen to them. So what needs to happen? They still need to listen, they still need to do the work. But if you're not the authority, guess what? That's not going to happen. So what happens? Manipulation techniques. fear-based tactics, really limiting rules and regulations to keep people in their silos, and it's divide and conquer approach, right?
Mhm.
Okay. And that creates what? A toxic environment in the culture among the people. The business suffers, the people suffer, and in the end, I mean, this is not the optimal or sustainable way of leading. Now let's experiment and explore the above the line scenario. Like we all have the chance to rise above the line, and above the line is really where we shift our mindset from no, like there is no way I can do this. I was born this way. Like why would I change? We shift to oh, I definitely want to change if I learn, maybe if I take some self-assessment, I learn about my communication style, I understand where my blind spots or like my hidden spots are, and I start working on myself. Maybe by the end of the year I'd become a better leader, at least for myself, and then I will learn how to lead others better, as an example. And so this is when we become open minded. This is when we become conscious about the choices we make in what we eat, who we spend time with, what kind of career we choose based on purpose, based on our connection with our higher self and our soul, not because our dad told us or mom told us to, get into this specific career track, but who we truly are. We're living here and now. And now the a life on the personal level of a person like this looks pretty organized because they're very motivated, they're disciplined, they know what they want. They, if they don't know, they look for ways to create clarity. They hire somebody, they invest into their personal growth, right? And then when we take this person and from the personal level and put them into the organizational level as a leader, what is going to end up happening is that because they invest into their personal growth, they're going to do the same for their teams. They're going to ensure that everyone on the team is thriving and growing and will push them in a good way, provide the tools for them to grow, and value them for who they are and all the contribution that they can bring. Understanding that here's the word diversity, that we are all so different and we all have our unique gifts that are unparalleled with everybody else's. Like it would be so boring if we were all the same. And
Exactly. Mhm.
yeah, and the great leader can truly harness the strength of each of the employees and put them in the right almost like roles, or assign to them the right projects where they are actually leading and they're enjoying it, empowering them to be leaders where they are. And finally, one more last thing. Right now, I'm pretty sure, like, if we stop somewhere on the street and ask maybe like 10 people in a row if they are a leader, at least maybe half, if not more, will say, I'm not a leader. I don't lead anybody. Why would I be a leader? And that's what has happened to me many times when I, in conversations like, well, do you think of yourself as a leader? Like, no. But can you even imagine what would our world be like if we were all more self-aware, knew what we are here for, um, we're living an aligned life, right? In present in our body, mind, and soul, really embodied in our inner power. That would be really hard to control, right?
Yes, exactly. And I love so much how you already touched on this topic, which is actually diversity. And many people, oh my God, especially in America, it's due to backlash. They are kind of afraid even of pronunciation this word. But what I'm advocating for strongly, it actually doesn't um, mean so much how it's pronounced on at the term. It's not a label. It's not for diversity's sake. It's
Mhm.
actually I'm trying all the time to elaborate with people that we have own mission, vision, calling. We have been sent here, just one of us, one of each. And I do believe like there is a meaning special. We have different fingertips, different DNA, and the beauty and colorful rainbow of our brains. What can be more impactful than that, to especially now in this special really challenging time, to meet and to co-create global solutions. United we're stronger. It's like you brilliantly, Tatyana, already said that we are so unique, and how really, first of all, boring it should have been if we were all alike. And
Mhm.
then also there is totally blind way, and there is no future without us properly actually the future in so many ways. How should actually creativity innovation should have happened? Because at the end of the day, all the biggest inventions, has have been made by those out of box kind of strange people, or they been called crazy, or like Nikola Tesla, Einstein. If you're talking now about I don't know, Elon Musk, everybody, right? So it's
Mhm.
new term. It's neurodivergent people, or it's people with actually cognitive different orders, and many people, they still have taboo and stigma and prejudice to talk about this subject, because they call it like disorder. I put it like mental uniqueness or diff order. It's different orders, and
Mhm.
it's disabilities. It can be really plus abilities, like you said, if it will be aligned, your body, soul, and mind, and you really aligned with your energy, and your mission, your vision, your calling. And then, of course, unfortunately, we still kind of operate in this society which a lot of rules are written for neurotypical people. But even conversation like this arena, where we can very safely discuss
Mhm.
the uniqueness of different brain, it means a lot. How do you think, how we can make actually really more inclusive communities, team, and societies, without being like people like me should be afraid that we should still keep our masks, that we can actually be more open about our special mental uniqueness, and
Mhm.
then that we can be understood and actually respected for who we are. We don't need to be accepted, just tolerated and adopt, mask ourselves.
Mhm.
What do you think?
I think that our world is lacking kindness.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally just right before a conversation watched a video by, I forget what his name is, one of the prominent figures. When I remember, I will tell you. He mentioned that there is a difference between kindness and niceness, and I completely agree with that. Especially in the United States, we're so used to being nice, but very rarely are people kind. And what's the difference? The kind person will actually do the thing. They will actually help. They will not put the smile just to make you feel good. If there is something wrong, like you have a booger on your nose, right? For example.
Okay, I found this on the web for if there is something wrong, like if you have a booger in your.
Okay, so that was my AI listening to our conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Let, maybe we can cut that part out if you
No,
want.
I actually encourage all people that you and me, we're absolutely authentic, real, normal people, that it should not be scary to start podcasts and to make impactful conversation, that people can really understand that it's authentic, real conversation, and we are also normal people operating in normal environments. It can happen whatever. It can come dog, it can be
Okay,
breakage, the
that's so
line.
I
This
love
is
that.
so authentic circumstances. It's okay. Yeah.
I love that. So basically, kindness is what we are lacking in the world. And interestingly, he was playing around with this word like kind comes from the word kin, right?
Mm-hmm.
My kind, the humanity kind, like meaning when you are kind to someone, it's almost like you are seeing them as yourself, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the interesting part is that there is so much division in the world right now that people are afraid to authentically connect to one another. And it's not about diversity as much. It's about being willing to be kind, not to be nice and say good words, but actually when, hardship comes, everyone walks away. No, you may not say anything, but just give a hand. Does that make sense? There is this profound difference, and I think that's what really will help this world to actually shift towards thriving, is when we understand that the diversity and multiplicity of thought, of skin color, of ethnicity, of races, of perception. This world is based on this. There is no other way. And respect, mutual respect, even if we disagree on something, is
Mhm.
the foundation for a thriving society. Like, sure, we can agree to disagree on something, for example, but on other aspects, we respect each other because that's the way to go. And by the way, right now, what I'm seeing is more and more growth of communities around the world, communities that really focus on creating thriving opportunities and supporting one another. And this is something that my husband and I have been creating in our Russian speaking community in the Boston area as well. I've been running the master classes for the conscious leaders every other month to help raise the awareness of the importance of becoming the conscious leader for your life first, as the business owner, as the executive, as the CEO. And because here's the thing, our impact is more profound than we think. When I was a young girl, I don't remember how old was I. Was it maybe like 8 or 10? And my mom was really into spirituality and esoterics, and she read a lot of books. I wasn't reading all of them myself. I was just kind of like in that space,
Mhm.
something that I downloaded in my mind, in my space there, that I haven't seen anywhere else, and I'm going to share it with you. The rule of the five.
Mhm.
Now think about, on average, every person encounters plus or minus 5 people throughout their day,
Mhm.
right? And here's the thing: we can, for example, you're walking down the street, you're in a good mood, you're shining brightly, you're sharing your love, and you smiled to that person. Now you activated something in them.
Mhm.
Now that person has their 5 people, and they're going to go about and share the impulse that you shared with them with everybody else. So the energy is already changed. How many people? We're doing math here, right?
Yes, yes. 25.
Now those 5 people have their 5 people. Now we're talking about the mathematical progression. Now multiply that by 5. It never ends.
Mhm.
So if you want to change the world, change yourself
Yeah.
is actually a real thing. Meaning that we may never know where our kindness will echo, but it will echo probably at, on the other side of the planet. And
Exactly.
and the same way is like when we are below the line. And by the way, it's absolutely normal to fluctuate, like in and out, up and down. Our life forces us. That's how we grow, right? But striving, not necessarily striving, but trying to keep yourself above the line. And as you mentioned, like choosing the thoughts that will help you to create the new you, using that neuroplasticity, right? Neuroplasticity of your brain. Why repetition matters that much is that by repeating the same thought, like this was the old me, I don't do this anymore. This thought does not serve me. I'm going to choose a new thought. It's almost like you're choosing the clothes in your closet, like, oh, this is old, like I should throw it away. We are creating the new identity. We are aligning more and more with our highest self so that we can lead here and now, sharing our best expression of ourselves with the world. Because just by being us, we create a huge impact.
So, so beautiful. And this is so powerful and really profound. Like I said, leadership is visibility, is first of all, to be able to lead yourself, and then people can really not just watch but feel what
Yes.
you are doing, and you can really be this tribal leader that everybody wants to look up to you, because you lighten up by on an energetical frequency way, and
Mhm.
it's to you, and it's how we really make impact. And it's so important to remember that by having this visibility and being able to take charge of your own life and be a leader, you really impact others. So first of all, it's so beautiful initiative you and your husband are doing. It's also important now, especially in a world when the most profound, unfortunately, influences 80% of our decision now impacted by AI. So
Yes.
important to have real meaningful conversation and meetings with all our five senses, where we can hug, when we can be ourselves on and interact on all possible levels. That's why we have been discussing different projects with Tatyana, and that's for sure that there's always right moment and the right energy and frequency and projects, and they are also changing and evolving. And my beautiful audience know that I have experienced also very profound moment in my life that postponed actually a lot of decisions, but also fueled a lot of other decisions to live here and now, and to be even more grateful for small what people call soft topics, but they are absolutely not soft topics. They are the most important topics in our life, both in private and corporate world. And now we are talking actually about more collaborative, impactful projects, and it can be like workshops or business class or course. Our beautiful audience, can actually reach out to us and even write or maybe give some ideas what you would like to hear from us in togetherness. And I have already idea while we were just talking, elaborating now, like you mentioned kindness and the line above. So it even can be masterclass or workshop like kindness, the level above, and something like that, for example. And because, like you said, the most important also, I have the special method I have created. It's 5E enablers, and the all the time in all systems I'm speaking about leadership, I'm starting with E, or I have at least E. It's always empathy. It's basically the same genuine approach from human centered leadership. So thank you so much for you, first of all, being you, for gave us your insight, knowledge, wisdom, your beautiful energy, your beautiful smile. And I'm always joking a little bit before I wrapping up every episode that, and now this is the time when I'm inviting my vice president, and everybody like, whoa, you have never warned us that it will be trio or not just two of us. And then I'm joking and pulling out this beautiful young lady.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's very tough. She's sustainable. She grants a lot of wishes. Pink and gold, really, still we have been touching on gems and diamonds, So,
There
of
you
course,
go.
are believing in magic. And we mostly, especially made in Soviet, we believe mostly in magic created by our own hands, right? But
Yes.
still, we knew we started with childhood, and childhood is always connected with fairy tales and believing in magic, creating magic, right? We need this
Yes.
energy of magic. So that's why my vice president, she is loving granting wishes for guests. We don't have, unfortunately, possibility to grant 3 wishes because we want to help as many as possible, and we precise and emphasize quality, not quantity. But 1 wish, this is absolutely for sure. So my last questions for today, for our actually next profound collaborative project, will be the wish from Tatyana Gao today. What wish that would be? Thank you.
Okay. Question for you. Does it have to be the wish that aligns for other people? Is that something that I need to share out
It's
loud?
exactly what your energy tells you now. It can be a pineapple on your pizza for the dinner, or it can be peace in the world, or dentist meeting should be less painful. It's exactly, you are the master of the energy. What hits your soul exactly right now?
Mm. I want to help co-create a new world where systems support people to thrive, where AI supports people to thrive, where personal power, the willpower, is not diminished but amplified through self awareness to create a better world. Because what I see right now, the old systems are crumbling, the new are trying to be built, but we have the say of how we move into the new world of AI. And if we don't use our authentic voice, then the world is going to be different. Your voice matters. So I wish for you to, whoever is listening, to express yourself. Whatever is in your heart, if you want to start something and you've been waiting for the confirmation, that's the confirmation. So, not only world peace, but the new world order, we are moving into it anyway, where people thrive, where systems create. The word equality is may not be the right one because we're all unique. Um, I don't think we came up with words that would describe how each person will thrive. But basically, it's the collective attempt to elevate the frequency and the energy of the earth by bettering ourselves. So,
Amazing. I'm joining, and she also is, I can see bubbling of the energy. She's so much happy to fulfill this wish. And we can just add a little bit, every single encouragement you have, then it should be also marinated in real pure kindness.
yes, absolutely.
So much, and please, my beautiful, stay for more news. And maybe the last part, actually, we can do that. Tatyana can say where people can find her, all the
Mhm.
information. Of course, I will be presenting this in our post in Instagram and YouTube, on LinkedIn, but you
Mhm.
can also share where people can reach out to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Valeria. I really appreciate that. So you can find me on my website, monadacoaching.com. Connect with me through my email address, tatyana at monadacoaching.com, Tatyana at monadacoaching.com. And I would love to see how we can help support you to elevate you to the next level. Because something that I discovered is that it can be a really lonely journey if you're trying to lead yourself, and community is really important. So I look forward to connecting with you. By the way, my new book is being edited right now, and it will be printed hopefully by the end of the year, if not earlier. And I really look forward to sharing it with you because it will be basically connecting the arc of my personal story with the arc of the leadership development, which is a really unique and unusual way of writing a book. But it has a strong energy that comes with it. So I look forward to sharing it with the world soon.
Important, Hein, and I'm sure it's just our first profound conversation that we can make into very nice tradition and habit. So it will be more news from our side, our co-creative projects. Thank you so much.
Thank
Blessed.
you.
Taking good care of yourself and your 5 people, because now we know how actually it radiates further. My
That's
beautiful, thank you. Uh, if you like this story, and I'm sure you like, it was profound story, reach out to us, come with more ideas, insights. So what would you like to discuss more in this lens? And yes, and share your uniqueness, authenticity, and kindness. Thank you, and until next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.